What is going on, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today we are returning back to Power and Revolution. Welcome back to the game. Finally, PG finally actually plays Power and Revolution for once instead of the political process. So today we are actually going to be starting off as playing with the Republic of France. We're going to be playing with the French Fifth Republic today. So let's go ahead and come over here. We're not going to be playing as the United States for once. We're going to be playing as France. It's a country I have actually not played as actually ever, I think. We got a couple of characters we can actually start off with. Right now we actually have Etienne Mitterrand, something like that. Emmanuel Macron is actually the real life president of the Republic of France. So then we have another one. I don't know who these guys are, unfortunately, except we have one stock character in the game. But we're going to go ahead and start off as Emmanuel Macron. So we're not going to be going off of euros today. We're actually just going to be going off of our own currency, the best currency, the top currency in the world, the United States currency. So then we actually ironically have a quote from the man himself, Charles de Gaulle. It is not possible to get elected through a program and to enforce it. In politics, it's simple. The representative betrays its electorate, or he betrays the interest of the country. Wise words from a main man, Charles de Gaulle. There's a little bit of a long pause right there, but I don't care. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it. Wait for this to load. All right, and we're going to go ahead and skip that. There's just the Year of the Woman, since it is the 2019 edition. And for those wondering right now, first off, I'm going to go ahead and start off. For those who are watching right now, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you are here waiting to hear some announcement about 2020, please do not ask me about 2020 because I don't have any news on it. Please don't ask me anything about it. Do you think Trump will win in Nevada or Maine in November? Maine, the second district of Maine is a possibility, or the first district. I always get those two between. It's not going to be the Augusta region. It's going to be the northern region. The same electoral vote that he actually carried in 2016. That one I could possibly say could go toward him, but either way, the Maine as a whole, I kind of doubt, unless there is actually a lot of strong suiting. Like, I honestly don't even think that Susan Collins can actually win her Senate seat back this coming. Oh yeah, the 2021 edition. That's the one I'm waiting for. All right, we got a couple of things coming out here. We're going to go ahead and do this. Weeding out the terrorists. This is just introducing us to the terrorist network. Raising the carbon tax from the Minister of the Environment. We have a climate objective reminder from the trader from the World Trade Organization. Or that was the UN secretary, I think. But we're not going to worry about that. We are actually going to worry about our energy, but fortunately enough, I actually don't have to really mess with energy that much because we already have a nuclear facility, electric production emphasis as France. However, we could actually start reforming it into third generation nuclear power plants. What they actually do not have, we actually have one under construction. I don't know where that is. If we can actually find it, that would be great. I actually don't know where this third generation one. All right, here it is. This one right here. Oh wait, it's on a shutdown status. Huh. Let's go ahead and check a couple of these. Fessenheim. Let's go ahead and restart that as a facility. That's going to go ahead and give us about 10 terawatts of power. He will win Virginia. I know. I'm sorry. No. Virginia is not going to be going to the Republicans anytime soon. And for any reason at all, I cannot ever project Virginia going toward what do you call it? Trump at all. 2024, maybe a possibility, but I just don't think that there's much of an electorate out there, or a conservative leaning electorate in Virginia, to actually put it in the Trump column. But let's go ahead and start doing some emphasis on the economy while I actually skip this song right there. And let's go over here. Let's go to farming. Let's see what we can do over here. We got cannabis, cocaine, some black market sectors. I wish I could put some more emphasis into this production right here. But let's go ahead and come over. Let's go ahead and do some more cotton. Let's try to see if we can get some cotton going for our textile industries. That got a little bit of production going. At least we can get a little bit. Hopefully in the future we actually have some higher production. Right over here, let's go ahead and put some $500 million. No, not 500 million. Let's do $200 million into rice itself. That increases it just a little bit. I mean, getting production to go over consumption in this game is one of the most difficult things that I ever really have to do. Let's go here. We don't have a national service. So I actually have a couple of things that I am not able to touch in this game. One of the things that I'm actually being suggested to do, who is the Secretary of Commerce? I don't remember. That is, I can't remember. I actually cannot touch Social Security or health. There's also, I cannot touch education, I believe. And I also cannot, I need to increase my military strength. So possibly about a $30 billion increase should actually be sufficient for France. And in other things, a really good emphasis on third generation nuclear power plants. Once we actually get this deficit down. Once we get the deficit down, that's going to be the big thing to where we can actually start investing into our future. Let me actually do something real quick. Let's go ahead and invite the Power and Revolution Discord that we actually have. I didn't even send out an invite right there. Let's go ahead and get people. Yikes, that was the wrong one. Let's go ahead and get a share link, and let's go ahead and get people into here. All right, and we are back. Wilbur Ross, yeah, that is actually. I'm French and I like your videos. Hey, little boy, thank you. That's a really funny name, but hey, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And Normandy is right here. We got the good old Cherbourg. This is where the D-Day landings actually happened. We got Shane right here. I don't know how to say that. The Orange Gamer, welcome to the live stream. And everyone joining right now, welcome to the live stream, please. Let's go over here to immigration. Let's see what our immigration status is. 400,000 illegal immigrants in the country as of now. That number is increasing, 72,000 a year, it looks like. I used to watch your streams all the time. Yep, I am back. All right, United Nations, what can we do over here? We can't really do anything, and we cannot ask the World Bank or IMF for any money since we are actually a top contributing country. Legislation, let's go ahead and put that at 300,000. That's going to be my first act of office. Do 300,000. That's a total increase of $485 million. And police, that's 1. Got security, environment, energy independence, agriculture, and employment. We got a 3% increase into our approval. And we got a meeting with the Minister of Iraq. Let's go ahead and meet with them, see what we can do. What we actually need to do, we need to meet with the United States. We need to start getting our growth up. We're going to go ahead and meet with them this weekend. And that's going to be it. So we have 2 meetings lined up. We're going to possibly actually even have another meeting with the Russians, try and get some oil, get some oil pumping in. We actually don't have a direct oil pipeline with the Russian Federation, so that's actually pretty unfortunate. God knows how they're going to implement coronavirus into the game. I think it's what I'm really hoping actually is that the coronavirus is actually put in as a feature that you can deal with, and hopefully it's, instead of just it being an actual scenario, it's actually going to be like implemented thoroughly into the game. So instead of just having to deal with the coronavirus, you actually have to deal with an emphasis of different diseases, and then you can actually in every choice that you actually make, so say that there's an outbreak in Paris, then you can actually quarantine the city of Paris, and instead you actually have like these markers. It's like watching Plague Inc. You actually see these infected markers moving throughout the country, and public transportation as well as high-speed rail, for example, could actually be like the downfall of your country if you are not able to, take care of the disease effectively. So that would actually be a really, really cool feature if they would actually be able to implement into that. But what I am actually thinking is that the feature is going to be implemented into some sort of mission, which possibly could actually be unfortunate. I really, really want them to implement it as an actual feature instead of just a mission. It would have to it would change. It would have to change everything, though. Yeah, it would. How do you feel about the $3 trillion stimulus plan? I think it's stupid and partisan. My opinion on that is actually, I believe that the stimulus plan is good, but I do believe it is partisan. I do believe that I do believe that Americans need something like that. They do need another round of stimulus checks. I think that there should be an expansion of unemployment benefits up to January or even longer after that. But Nancy Pelosi introducing it, knowing that it would be a partisan deal, that's just ridiculous, and it's wasting a lot of time. That disease is not the thing you want to waste time on, and wasting it right now, I mean, listen to the way that I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it as if it's a regular political issue. Pandemics are not a political issue. Pandemics should not be treated like a political issue, and that is a huge issue that that we are suffering with during this time. $47 billion is being invested into the police force. We have a 1.2% crime rate, or 1.2 per 100,000 individuals. 87 in Honduras. We have a lot of people in Honduras. I've still been getting 100% pay on furlough. Well, you guys seem like seems like you guys didn't go far enough with your stimulus. Are you in England? Is it looking like from your profile picture? Honestly, I thought that the US stimulus was built with the idea that this would be done in May. 1 month of stimulus checks? Your debt doesn't really matter anyway. Yeah, I know. See, that's what I've been basically saying. So going on to I honestly think that the US stimulus is built with the idea that this would be done in May. See, that's the issue, is that this and that's the mistake that President Trump and the Republicans have been making, is that this could be done by a specific date. No, that's not how a disease works. That's not how it works. Like, disease, AMN, thank you so much for that donation. Really helps me. Thank you so much for that. But yeah, like, it doesn't work like that. That's not how you're supposed to look at it. That's the mistake that a lot of these people are actually making, is that they are looking at this as a partisan issue. They're looking at it as literally, oh wow, it looks like France already legalized. It was the discrimination on women that actually that's interesting. But yeah, like, this is not a partisan issue. This is literally an issue about like how we get sick. I don't know. It's so frustrating to me, honestly, and it's making me not paying attention to the game, actually. So let's actually go over to industry. Let's go ahead and try to see if we can actually nationalize the steel industry. Actually, iron. Let's go ahead and nationalize iron. Let's go ahead and put that under full control of the state. Let's actually do state involvement and then give it some subsidies. And as soon as we get it started, that's actually going to be where we're going to nationalize it fully. But let's go ahead and start them off with $200 million in stimuluses. And that's a waste of money, so let's go ahead and take that away. So nickel we can't do anything about. Railway construction, can we? Yes, we can. Let's go ahead and try to see if we can nationalize that. That's going to be a cost of about $2 billion, but we can take it. Kind of inflated our deficit a little bit, but as long as we're making a little bit of money off of that, that's going to be beneficial. And guys, if you guys like, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We have protests all over the country. 137,000 people are in the streets because of the argument in the country over purchasing power. So we're going to go ahead and try to see if we can get those numbers up over the next year. Endocrine disruptors, no more delay. Defense of purchasing power. All right, that was it. All right. I hate. Yikes. All right, I'm trying to respond to a couple of people. So, game plan for France. So since we're actually playing a game, I'm actually going to step aside from politics for a second and talk about my game plan for France. Basically, my game plan for France is actually going to be to fix France's shattered economy. And as in shattered economy, we actually are spending, oh my God, we're spending so much money on Social Security. Jesus, that gave me a heart attack. Anyway. We're gonna fix France's shattered economy. We're going to increase defense spending by at least $35 billion. And then we are actually going to, once we actually start getting some growth and trade contracts going on, we're actually going to go ahead and start spending a little bit more since, you know, Power and Revolution is a game where you, your success as president is actually about who is spending. And by the way, if you guys actually have any questions, really important questions that you want to ask, leaving them in a super chat actually does help me out. So super chatting gets your questions answered, and it also helps out the channel. So super chatting and questioning is actually a really beneficial thing for PG. Really helps keep me in check. But yeah, let's go ahead and go over to industry. Let's see what else we can do. But we actually do have a president that is actually on our soil. Let's go ahead and meet up with the president of the United States and ask him to make the same decision. Yeah, whatever. All right, let's go ahead and do a sales contract, see what kind of products we can actually sell over to the United States. Automobiles, can we do you? No, we cannot. Building, housing, and roadway is something we can actually do. Let's go ahead and give about 40,000 volume out, and let's do it 156, 114. This 156 was 142, and then we're gonna do 131. 130, 50 is going to be perfect. Though what's gonna be, this contract is going to be worth $166 billion. That's with a B, $166 billion. And if you are here working legally, then you're not illegal. That's not really okay. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and call it the Lion Agreement. Let's call it the Lion Agreement. Let's get that done in 5 years. It's going to be done in January 6th of 2024. Let's get another contract going with the United States while I answer some questions in the chat. See, many Western nations responded to COVID too late to put their economic performance before people's lives, which was reckless, and here we are in lockdown. Pisses me off, TBH. They could have just shut down the borders at least. Well, we did. The borders, the timeline of the United States shut down travel between China and the United States on February 2nd. It was too late by then. See, and this is actually something that I have had discussions with your boy Backstar in the chat, is that we were bound to have this happen. A pandemic of this scale has never been seen in the last 100 years. And the last pandemic we actually suffered was back in the 60s during Woodstock. And yes, a pandemic was happening in the United States when Woodstock happened. So, but the thing is that disease, which was H5N2, that one only killed about 12 to 25,000 people in the United States. So then, about 100 years ago, we had something called the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu killed several million people in the United States and killed 50 million people worldwide. Now, the mistake that a couple of cities actually made during that time was, for example, San Francisco. San Francisco actually locked down way too early for them to actually get a lock on the thing. And then so people started crying about being locked down, so they lifted the lockdown. And then after that, they suffered an even deadlier wave right after that. So what we are suffering right now is that the disparity of the lockdown is causing people to get frustrated with the government. So what are we doing? We're lifting the lockdown. So in return, we are going to suffer an even deadlier outbreak coming this winter. And that's why I am like, for at least those who are listening to me, please prepare. Please prepare for this winter. And this is not fear-mongering. This is not me trying to make you panic. And if you want to panic, please don't panic. But at the same time, the problem is the lockdown was never going to be sustained as we approach summer. That's on the fault of the people. The people the reason it can't be sustained is because people don't want to listen. Like, people like me, I wanted to listen. I wanted to make sure that, I'm safe, that my family is safe, that they're not going to get sick, because I have high-risk people that live with me. But the thing is that other people don't want to do the same respect. They want to do whatever they want. They want to go to Chili's. They want to go to a restaurant. They want to go to Denny's at 3 a.m. like me. So the thing is, no, Muse, I completely disagree with you. It is enforceable. But the only thing is if people were educated and actually knew what we were going through and the threat that this disease is posing to us, people can listen. It's just that people are too ignorant to actually want to listen. People are just refusing to take in any sort of information that is actually a fact, because these are some of the people, and as a Trump supporter and as a Republican, I have to concede the fact that most of the people who do not want to listen are Republicans and are Trump supporters and are conservatives. Conservatives, especially on YouTube that I've been listening to, they want to politicize this thing. They want to politicize it and make it look like, oh, well, it's just the flu. It's just this. It's just that. No, it's not just the flu. It's not just flu. That is the complete and biggest lie that anyone can ever tell you, that this thing is just the flu. It is not the flu. Ever. It is never. Coronaviruses and influenza viruses are completely different. Organic, he wants me to increase my funding. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so we have a removal from the file of terrorist suspects. So instead of me yelling at the microphone about this, let's go ahead and actually do something for France. Cyber Awareness Security Day. We're gonna go ahead and invest about $25 million into that, and then let's go ahead and invest not that much right now. External security and internal security. Budget, terrorists. Let's do the Jihadist Caliphate. Let's go ahead and do a file on that. Let's do this guy. He's going to be placed under surveillance. He's definitely going to be the leader. Spanish flu killed 80 million people in the world and 850,000 in the United States. The Republican Party isn't exactly the domain of sane people. Conservative gang here actually protested in my city in Ohio. But why? Why? What is your reasoning? What is your reasoning for wanting the lockdown to be lifted? Please answer that. Because what I've been wanting to do, I don't know if it's buffering or not on y'all. Okay, it's not buffering. Anyway, yeah, like what I've been wanting to do, I really want to have a conversation with someone that is anti-lockdown. And Michael, if you're anti-lockdown, please let me know why you are anti-lockdown. All right, we got a sales contract for potatoes from the Republic of Iraq, and then that is going to be $8.26. That is their sale price. Let's go ahead and lower that to where it's profitable for them, but not too expensive for us. Republicans will lose big in November. I hope so. Jesus Christ. $44 million. Let's go ahead and send that over. It's 706. Let's go ahead and accept that. It's gonna go ahead. That's actually gonna be a good contract for us. Make an effort in terms of human rights. Yeah. You're probably not listening. Our team is in place. Let's go ahead and continue on. Ooh, public finances really benefited on that. That was possibly the growth rate, actually. Let's go ahead and check on our growth rate. 2.17%. If we can actually get to like a 3 or 4% growth rate, we will be able to get out of a deficit really quick. This is one of those times where the incompetence of Trump really shows. Yeah, he called a missile the super duper missile a couple of minutes ago, actually, right before it came on. To encourage the development of electric cars, I would suggest, Mr. President, progressively raising the tax on petroleum products. Just like tobacco, this will undoubtedly yield results in the long term, all while filling the state's coffers. Now, why I'm not going to do that is because I am not going to be doing anything with the yellow vesters, because I don't want to be thrown out of office. So I am not going to be touching the fuel tax for at least another 5 years. Depending on what I can actually do in the re-election bid. But the super duper missile, y'all, it has to be said that the media have overhyped the virus. No, what I actually have to disagree with that. The people who have overhyped it are the people who think it's being overhyped. The thing is that this is a pandemic. This is a pandemic. This is real. This is what a pandemic is like. Things get shut down. Things go out of business. JCPenney filed for bankruptcy. This is what it's like. It's not going to be easy. But people need to come together and stop letting it divide themselves. Because if you're allowing this to divide themselves, this is the one time in human history where we as a species are supposed to come together to stop this disease from killing us. And we want to just sit there and bitch and moan because we don't want to wear a face mask. Are you serious? How stupid can people be? If you seriously disagree with at least wearing a face mask, then you are ignorant. You are ignorant and you need to stay inside. And if you're going to go outside, protect yourself. And it's not just about protecting. It's not just about the mask, for example. It's not about protecting yourself. It's about protecting others, because this disease can get inside of you. It can give you no symptoms at all, but you are still spreading it. You are still spreading this disease without even knowing it. No, Muse, I have to disagree. A face mask helps. So the thing is that if you wear a face mask, and the person next to you was wearing a face mask, the chances of getting the coronavirus go down by about 70%. Yes, there is still a 30% chance of you getting it, but just because Fauci said one time that you shouldn't that you shouldn't wear a mask, but then the next day he came back and said, yes, you should wear a mask, and the Surgeon General said the same thing. Just because they said one time that you shouldn't wear it, but then come back a couple of days later and say you should wear it, but then the policy after that continuously is to wear a mask, then yes. Do you get coronavirus from farts? No, you don't. I mean, sarcasm doesn't help either. Where's the source for that? It's literally just by wearing a mask. So some of the sources that I actually get about this are actually Clean Cars. I've been studying disease for 15 years. Whenever I was very young, I got extremely interested into disease and pandemics and things of that sort. So I have a little bit of somewhat experience, not experience, but like I have knowledge of how to protect yourself from a disease. So, let me go ahead. Please tutorial for Indonesia. That's funny. So to wear a mask, it really depends on which one you're wearing. So if you're going to wear a surgical mask, you're actually not supposed to be wearing a surgical mask. Surgical masks don't do that much. If you can blow straight through your mask, then you are not safe. If you can barely even if you actually barely even feel anything whenever you blow through your mask, then you are basically safe. So the thing is that a mask is not supposed to protect yourself from getting the coronavirus. That is misleading. What it's supposed to do, it is supposed to stop you from spreading it whenever you don't know that you have it. So the issue is not about, let's go ahead and start doing some tax reforms actually. So the issue is not about protecting yourself. It's just that whenever you're out in public and you are, working, you're doing something, then wearing a mask reduces your chances of getting it. And if someone else has a mask, their chances of spreading it to you or others goes down significantly. So anyway, instead of me going off on a tangent, let's go ahead and lower some taxes. So this is actually going to be another issue that I'm going to go ahead and do. 2% is going to be my budget limit. That is going to be the limit to where I need to, if it goes over that amount, I'm going to go ahead and start reducing taxes. But at the same time, or actually trying to reduce spending, actually. That's what I'm going to do. But right now, what I'm actually going to do, we're going to go ahead and start touching some of the taxes. We're going to do something that I don't do very often in game. So, 82.4% tax rate on tobacco. So let's go ahead and put that at 85. Let's go ahead and attach that to a new reform. This is going to be, we're going to go ahead and call this the Muse reform. I'm going to go ahead and name it after someone that I can see in chat, and since Muse has actually been talking a lot, I'm going to go ahead and name it after him. We're going to do that. We're going to do 85 flats. And so that's going to be the first one. Employer Social Security payments. I'm not going to touch those right now. We're not going to touch any payroll taxes. 15-cent tax on the highways. Jesus Christ. What actually is something else I'm going to do. We are going to, where is it? Industrial pollution tax. We're going to go ahead and increase that. We're going to see how that fares with the parliament. What about that? Let's go ahead and attach that to the reform. Point 2. And real estate tax. What if I do that to $20? So that's probably not going to be that popular, but I'm going to go ahead and try it. Crap. Let's do the Muse reform. Is your upcoming election that consequential anyway? Both Trump and Biden will probably fairly similarly. Well, it all depends on the Electoral College. Let's go ahead and add that to the reform. We have a 68% approval rate estimated vote in the coming votes, so that's going to be good. Maybe we can actually shoot to get the highway toll tax to 20 cents. That's actually per mile. That's actually... let's go ahead and reduce a little bit of taxes. Let's do this at 150. It's going to cost us $90 million. 62% do not approve. What about 170? Is that going to be approvable? Nope. Let's do 200. It's going to cost us $24 million. Yep, that is going to work. Let's go ahead and add that to the Muse reform. 69% passage rate. Audio-visual tax, $12 billion. Legislation, regular and repressive, that's okay, I guess. Declare a tax amnesty. This is going to make a lot more sense to actually do that in a certain cases, actually, especially whenever 2020 comes out. Does increase on pollution tax affect industry production? I actually have never tested that before. I'm actually going to have to test that. Let's see the public reaction to this. Hey, we got approved. That was actually good. We have a little bit of purchasing power disapproval on that. I don't trust polls because everything now is BS. The media can't trust squat. In Argentina, we have been in lockdown since March 15th. The government is doing very little testing, and positives are going up in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, see, I am in... Y'all can hear me? Can y'all hear me? Yep. OBS is picking up. But yeah, like, my state, the state of Texas, has extremely stupid leaders right now. Ken Paxton, Governor Abbott, and there was the other guy, he's the lieutenant governor, Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick, those three guys right now are the stupidest people in the United States, because they are looking at the situation and they're like, okay, let's go ahead and get businesses going. So what really gets me about it is that everyone is actually, and I actually just noticed that y'all cannot hear the music in the game, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and change that just so there's not this like weird silence in the game. But yeah, there's the sound finally after how long? 37 minutes? That's funny. Hyperloop, let's get this train started. Yep. 210,000 people are going to be added into the military. Mike DeWine in Ohio is the best. I don't know. My issue is I just really do not approve of the lockdowns being lifted as they are right now. I think it is a horrible idea to open the lockdown because the Republicans making this political issue are trying to bend this into a way to basically where they look like the savior of America during the hardest time since World War II. We are staring in the face of the greatest economic crisis we have ever faced in our history. We are staring at the barrel of a shotgun that is about to blow our face off. And this is how we are acting. It is disappointing, and it frankly just makes me not want to vote in 2020. But I have to vote in 2020 because if I don't vote, then my voice is not going to be represented. And the one person that I can actually, support my views is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is someone I believe with his policies and with his somewhat handling of the coronavirus. I just don't trust Joe Biden. Joe Biden, I feel like, would put us in a place to where we are not going to recover. But at the same time, I do believe that Joe Biden would be able to call out these governors and say, hey, you're being an idiot, stop being an idiot. Trump is not going to do that because he's allowing the states to do what they want, which I also support. I somewhat support the fact that he is allowing the states to do to lead in this crisis. Nice taxes or direct your attention to a potential gold mine for the state that tends to be neglected. Taxes on a highway system. It has the advantage of being a less head-on than a direct levy, allowing the development of other transportation infrastructures with the funds collected and to be environmentally friendly. We should expect some resistance from commuters, but ultimately it's still a taxation that's worth its weight in gold. So, okay, amusement. So lockdowns are not treating people like children. If you actually think that it's literally trying to treat people like children, you are wrong. Lockdowns are not the government coming in and saying, okay, well, you should restrict yourself because, we know what's better for you. No, that's not what the government is saying. That's what I don't get, is why people do not understand that this disease is spreading. It's literally a disease. What other justification do you need? What justification do you need before you can literally look at the situation and say, yes, a lockdown is necessary? The lockdowns are necessary. It is not to treat you like children. It is literally to keep you, your family, and your kids safe. That's the purpose. And this is something like, I don't know, this is something that has absolutely just been, I've been absolutely passionate about. We should have precaution, not jail time for lockdown. So yes, I don't think that you should get locked. I don't think that you should be thrown in jail. But at the same time, so for example, in Texas, there was a lady who broke the lockdown order, and you know what happened? The governor of Texas changed the law just because of her. That is not how you govern. That is not what you do as a governor. You do not change a law just because you don't want that person to go to jail. If I murdered someone, I would go to jail. But would it be justifiable if the governor felt it necessary to change the murder law in the in Texas just to make sure that I don't go to jail? What justification do you need to even try to change the law? That is not what you do. Anyone that breaks the law should serve their time. And she was only supposed to go to jail for a week. She was only supposed to be in jail for 7 days because she didn't apologize for what she did. This thing is just, it's just so stupid. The hairdresser was wrongly treated. The Supreme Court pardoned her, not the governor changing the law. No, the governor of Texas changed the executive order to make sure that people are not jailed. The Supreme Court ruled that she should be released. They did not release her. That the governor himself came out and said that she should and changed the law to make sure that she was not jailed. And that is disgusting. I would, by the way, like just for the live stream, I would totally love to have a discussion with at least one of you who is anti-lockdown. I'm going to go ahead and increase the scientific research to 100,000. I tune in to hear this is so stupid. Yes, sir. Thank you. Were the lockdowns passed through state legislature, then it isn't law. That would be called a dictator then. So, okay. Not everything has to be pass through a legislature. So that is actually something called emergency powers. Now the thing is that in Texas at least, the governor is the one who issued it statewide, but the counties were the one that were doing it beforehand. Michael, come on, don't be saying stop watching CNN. Like, I mean, what are you watching? What are you watching? Michael, if you're down for it, I would totally love to have a VC conversation with you about this. Just anyone who is anti-lockdown, I would totally love to have a conversation with you after this live stream is done. God, this whole live stream is just going to be me just yelling at my live stream. Oh, man. All right, let's go to teacher training, backup classes. Let's go ahead and give $500 million to backup classes. It's going to be good. CNN is awful, to be fair. But they're 100 times better than Fox. Yep, I would have to slightly agree with that. Fox News is an echo chamber. I'm sorry. Like, Fox News is not... It's important to watch a variety of news channels. Best way to get a balanced view. Yeah, that's what I do. I watch CNN, I watch Fox, I watch MSNBC, I read the New York Times, I read several different things. The one thing I just don't do is specifically just get my news from Reddit. That's something I think is kind of dumb. Cabinet. What kind of laws can we change, actually? Let's go to police. Let's go over here. Let's go to legislation. Determine the maximum blood alcohol. Let's actually do that at 0.6. That's not going to pass. It's unfortunate. I read the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, and USA Today. It's a good amount of diverse news. Popularity leaves me speechless. See what else can we can actually nationalize before I start getting into it again on this garbage pandemic. Let's actually go ahead and skip. Ouch. Oh, that was a day-long protest. We still haven't gotten any riots. Usually within like the first month. Demonstration by smokers and tobacconists. Enraged tobacconists and smokers of all kinds organized a long march to Paris against the excessive increase in the tobacco tax. The demonstration, if I may, the cloud of smoke that followed it finally dispersed in the afternoon without any serious incidents. That's funny. I've never seen that message before. That was funny. Very satisfactory results. The Muse reform passes Parliament. As a third positionist, part of me hopes the lockdown can be used to justify more authoritarian measures. Jesus Christ, that's okay. How is Power and Revolution? Are the games still glitchy? Sort of. I mean, it is Power and Revolution. You're always gonna get bugs. They just don't bother me that much, honestly. I don't know why. It's just I just do not get bothered by them. Unemployment is on its way down, so that's really good. Let's go ahead and cut some funding to the unemployment agency. I'm going to cut that down by 3 stars. Let's actually cut it down by 4 stars. It's going to cost us, or give us $5.6 billion. Lockdown is okay, yes, but not door everyone. There's people that can't afford a long time without their money. So yeah, and that's where the government is supposed to step in and say, hey, we're here for you. We're gonna go ahead and help you out during this time of need. But the issue is that no one wants to stay inside. The issue is not about people because literally the government came out whenever this started. What happened to the worst flu season in a few years that disappeared after? No, it didn't disappear. Amusement. That is not how it that's not how it works. Like, it didn't disappear. The flu is still happening. That's why they're doing flu tests and coronavirus tests, is because they don't know. Let's go ahead and do some help for employing young people. Let's go ahead and give that full funding, actually. And then fight against child labor. Let's go ahead and fully fund that as well. What is your political compass? I would have to take it, honestly. I don't... I'm like a right authoritarian, I believe. Um, so they're reporting way more numbers of COVID than there actually is. So the thing is actually it's not okay. So oh god, let me go ahead and confirm this. So the thing is that there is not some menacing issue behind this. There is not some sort of, like power grab that is supposed to be happening. Whenever they're reporting higher numbers of COVID than there actually is, that's not because they're trying to do that to make their point clear. It's because of the confusion behind how these people are dying. Coronavirus is a pandemic. There are a lot of people that are getting coronavirus right now. So then, along with the health problems that people are suffering from in hospitals right now, they're getting mixed in with COVID. So doctors in the confusion are like mixing these people. So some people who are dying of pneumonia that was not related to COVID are being included in the stats accidentally. That's why you see the numbers going up and down, because they're looking back on these numbers and they're looking back on these numbers, and then they're like, okay, well, we're going to go back and we're going to recorrect this. But they're correcting them still. The only thing is that whenever you see that happen, you're looking at it in a way of like, oh, so then they're inflating the numbers. No, that's not the thing. It's because it's happening by accident, because they're so similar. I had a conversation with my father one time, basically to where because there is a little bit of an issue with coronavirus to where it actually amplifies arthritis-like symptoms. And then he looked at me and he was like, why are you saying it's causing arthritis? That's not how arthritis works. And I'm like, I know, but the thing is that it is actually happening because it is causing those same symptoms. So the symptoms are similar, so then you get confused about why it about you, so then you get confused about where the deaths are coming from. Pneumonia is the top killer with coronavirus. People that are getting coronavirus are drowning in their own lungs. So then you are getting pneumonia victims that were not related to COVID mixed in with people who are dying of COVID, because the thing is that you don't die from COVID. COVID doesn't kill you. Pneumonia kills you. The symptoms that coronavirus is causing inside of your body is what is killing you. There's not a specific thing that says coronavirus like is a direct cause. So yes, it's a direct cause of the pneumonia that killed you. That is how people are dying. That is how it works. And people like, and I don't know if some of you are not educated in that manner, but some of you are not educated like that. Some of you do not know about how a disease kills you. And a disease kills you, for example, the common cold is a coronavirus. Do you know what kills you with the common cold? It's the pneumonia. The pneumonia is what kills you. Not the cold, it's the pneumonia. And the pneumonia is what's killing people now. And it's getting confused with people that are, dying of regular pneumonia. How strong are the restrictions in the United States? It really depends on what state you're in. I'm going to let y'all discuss this for a minute so I can go ahead and take a break from looking at the chat. Let's go ahead and watch out for unemployment. Let's go ahead and give some full, wow, that is expensive. Let's go to farming. Let's go to budget, and then let's give 3 stars to organic farming. Get those numbers up. This is actually proportion of organic agricultural areas is actually going down because of the low funding levels. Law on blood alcohol levels. 15 minutes or less than 2 months game. Yeah, I know. And we got a riots. I knew it. Thank you so much for that other donation, AMN. Thank you so much. That really helps me out. I guess it's just a wow, Wow, there's something in my throat right now. I don't know what it is. Right-wing extremists. Looks like the lockdown protests are spilling over. Let's go ahead and send in the bulldozers for this. All right, everyone who's actually watching right now, I want to have a conversation about this after this. So please join that Discord right now. Can you explain research how it works? OG, thank you for giving me that idea. So what I'm actually going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and release like a big influx of videos on Power and Revolution. So what I'm actually going to go ahead and do, I'm actually going to go ahead and do some tutorial videos. I'm actually going to do a foreign policy and military tutorial. I'm also going to do several other things such as, okay, let's actually split these guys up, and I just need to scare these guys off. Okay, so Muse, thank you. That is a great point. That is an absolutely great point. So Muse actually said, for those who don't know, for those who are watching me yell about coronavirus while I'm playing Power and Revolution, Muse actually made a comment, and he said, the problem is that you want people to trust the institutions about the severity of COVID. I agree that it needs to be taken seriously, but it is understandable that many people don't trust them after what has happened. Yes, that is a great point. That is an absolutely great point. I know the fact about not wanting to trust these institutions because they have broken your trust before. We have a little bit of a battle going on in the museum. Okay, let's shoot him. Oh shit, they shot him. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Pow pow. Pow pow. Come on, shoot his ass. Shoot him. Shoot him. There you go. There you go. Alright, so yeah, I get that. I completely understand that. I am as anti-government, like, as you probably don't know. Like, I need to do a separate live stream or video to where, like, I show my political side. But the thing is that if you don't, the thing is that if you do not have a thorough understanding of how a disease works, you should not be in the streets acting like you do. That's the thing about this. Has anyone seen Republican Space Rangers? Yes, sir, I have. That is the greatest show that has ever lived. But the thing is that if you do not have an understanding about what a disease works like, you should not be in the streets. The other thing, Michigan, for the love of God, people don't understand. Why do you want to go into your freaking state legislature with guns? What point are you making? What point are you making by marching into your state legislature, guns in hand, loaded and locked, to threaten your state government? What point is that? There is no point at all, ever. That pisses me off. God, I need to start a podcast. I am the most pro-government person you will probably find. Yeah, I don't know if... Did I say that? I don't know if I said that or not. They're conservatives. Do we expect any better? They're lost people. I'm probably one of the only conservatives that actually realizes that this government... That, like, you know, there's not some sort of conspiracy behind everything. Not everything is conspiracy. It's called natural selection. If they get the virus and die, who cares? Yeah, but the thing is that they're going to get the virus and then they're going to spread it to other people. That's the issue, is that people are like, oh, well, let them get it. Let them get it. And that's the other issue, is that I get. Like, I am a part of a small business. I am a part of the small business clan. But the thing is that I, as a small business, not owner, but a part of a small business, as someone who is a part of that issue, I don't believe that we should be opening up. PG is a country club Republican. How am I a country club Republican? Immigration. What should we do? All right, so this is going to be a little bit of a thing for you guys. Instead of talking about the coronavirus, please give me a suggestion of what to do in this game. So, should I deport illegal immigrants, the 400,000 illegal immigrants? Or should I regularize the situation among them? Should I actually allow them to bend into French culture? Or should I deport them all? What should I actually do with that? Most of these are actually coming from Portugal and Algeria, funny enough. So while I actually wait for you guys to actually do something on that, I'm going to go ahead and look at a couple other policies. I actually have not played this game. I have been talking way too long. Nuke everyone into game, says IST Games. Thank you so much for that suggestion. I don't know why it was held for review. File. Alright, let's go ahead and do investigations on a couple other of these guys. We're actually also gonna increase the amount of federal agents on French soil in a couple of minutes. Increase military spending. Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and do that. 1.25. We actually can invest a little bit more into our military infrastructure. Let's do it. So let's go ahead and buy. Let's do 10. So actually, this is a really good strategy for those who are watching, and this is actually going to be a strategy you're going to see soon in the military tutorial. Do something like this. Make a bunch of contracts for a very small amount. And then, would you describe yourself as a statist? For one, let me actually look up what a statist is, because I probably don't. An advocate of a political system in which the state has a substantial centralized control over society, social and economic affairs. No, I do not identify as a statist. But that is a good question. Thank you for asking that. But yeah, let's go ahead and do this. This is going to be a weird, time-consuming thing, but this is actually going to be really efficient in getting a lot of military equipment delivered. That's 20. This is going to be 30. So we're going to do this a couple of times. This is going to be 40. We're going to get all of this done by May. This is going to be the fun thing. And 50. And we're going to wait for all of those contracts to actually come back while we're also agricultural budget for the EU. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to wait for all these contracts to actually come back. And then we're going to accept them all. They're all going to be extremely expensive, $74 million. A couple of them are actually coming back a little bit cheaper, a little bit more expensive. But as long as we're getting an efficiently large amount of military equipment delivered to us, then we're going to be okay. So that's going to be a couple of $1 billion that actually is going to be costed toward us. At least build up a big navy so you can use it when at war. Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and do that as well. Let's go to here. Let's go to aircraft carrier. France, we actually are able to build an aircraft carrier. Let's do 2. No, 1. Yeah, let's just build 1. Since apparently we have the production to do so. Let's go to tanks. And 24. 24, let's do 200. Let's do 200 tanks. 200 advanced tanks, $704 million. Pretty efficient. That's going to be done in 2021. Fixing the debilitated housing or even a space program. Yep, we're going to go ahead and do that too. France doesn't have an aircraft carrier IRL. Do they actually? Which actually, my France expert Backstar is actually probably more knowledgeable in that, but at the same time, I'm actually going to see France aircraft carrier. Actually, they do have an aircraft carrier. The French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. The ship is the 10th French aircraft carrier, the first French nuclear-powered surface vessel, and the only nuclear-powered carrier completed outside of the United States Navy. She is named after the French statesman and general Charles de Gaulle. So yes, the French do actually have one aircraft carrier. Try to fund a moon colony early to get it funded and prepared by 2023. Oh, that's actually a really good idea. Thank you. Let's go to space research. Let's go to the moon. So, let's go here. Orbital probe. Let's go ahead and get walking on the moon done. And then names. And let's go ahead and get some names suggested for us. Because apparently we need a lot more. Because actually, to get a permanent base on the moon, we have to do a lot of this stuff, and we also need walking on the moon done, which we have not done. I think we actually need. So we need relaunching a module, operating a space station or base. What we can do actually is we can partner with the United States on it. The United States would actually be a really good partner for this. For old French monarchs or even de Gaulle. 270. Okay, for one thing, everyone please participate in this inside joke. Everyone start spamming 270 in the comments. I don't really know about healthcare, so you win this one debate, so pick another one. Michael, at least you admit it. I mean, not a lot of people actually do admit that, so that's actually really good on you. Actually, just while y'all spam 270, hopefully Nightbot doesn't kick y'all, but an explanation for 270 is actually it was a person that y'all probably actually know from 2016. He actually got kicked out of a Trump rally once, and he came onto my YouTube channel and he would spam 270, so it actually ended up becoming a really good inside joke among my subscribers. So fun fact there. Your opposition to Medicare for all demonstrates that Michael. Oh, okay. Agreement negotiation, 200 tanks, $910 million. We got 200 tanks, 200 level 3 tanks for under $1 billion. That's awesome. And our aircraft carrier, that's going to be done. We got a lot of military equipment coming in. This is actually going to be something in the next episode of the United States is actually a huge military buildup. Lots and lots of spending on the military is going to happen. Legislation, call up the reservists, manage arms embargoes. Who can we actually embargo? Who do we want to restrict from weapons? Taiwan, Turkey. Let's do Turkey. Let's do an arms embargo on Turkey. Even though they are a part of NATO, we probably do not want to be selling that government, that current government at least. Wow, thank you so much, AMN. That's a... Oh my god, AMN, I'm going to kick your ass. That is funny. That is funny. AMN... Thank you so much, AMN, for supporting the channel the way you do. I love you, man. That is absolutely funny. Honestly, that is the funniest donation that I have ever gotten. I'm gonna go ahead and take a screenshot of that, actually. That is hilarious. This is going to probably be my most profitable month, like, ever on YouTube, actually, thanks to AMN. Alright, let's go to space research. Let's go ahead and call something the AMN probe. AMN, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Let's go to Europa. Let's go here. Let's do a return of samples. And let's call this the AMN Backstar. Backstar probe. Let's give it full funding. We're going to do 100% of that. Actually, for $5.1 billion. It's going to take 122 months. Let's get that done. And we could possibly partner with someone on that. Now I want tribute. Is AMN a Rothschild or something? LOL. I know, right? Oh man. If you are taking people over that are bordered with you, if you relocate troops to the nearest city and send troops to the capital, by the time the country dispatches troops, you will have the capital. That's actually really good. That's actually a really good military strategy. Thank you for that. I'm actually going to put that on the next one. Protests all over the country. 81,000 people in the streets over the government's military policy. Oh, that's because of the huge buildup of military equipment that I did. Holy crap, that's a lot. But this is in Paris, so we are probably pretty equipped to actually deal with this. Let's go ahead and get all of the police into one place. Are you going to recolonize Algeria? Possibly, maybe in the next one. This episode right here is actually just supposed to be a more of a setup, you know, like, even though the setup literally has just been me screaming at people about the coronavirus and the lockdowns and all that. So, but everyone, thank you for this civilized conversation that we have been able to have. It's not really that easy to have a civilized conversation. So whenever I do notice that we are having civilized conversations, it is really helpful to all of us. You know, it's, screaming at each other and having issues, that's normal. But being violent, being assholes to each other, that's just not the way to go about it. And it's really disappointing whenever that happens. But if whenever we are actually able to have a consensus and a just a little bit of a we gotta deploy the troops. We have armed people in the streets right now. He is heading toward the head of state's residence. Let's go ahead and deploy some of the security troops. I think it's India, TBH. Hi, I just arrived. Hey, Sebastian, welcome to the live stream. Which are the objectives for this campaign? China. Yep, China. Sniper fire. Let's go ahead and take him down. Let's go ahead and snipe him as well. Come on, come on, come on. Hurry up before he gets to the head of state. Damn yellow vest. I know, right? But yeah, everyone leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Super chats again are always appreciated. It really helps out the channel. Civil and having a discussion. Having a discussion is what we're all about. I really do encourage y'all to have discussions with each other. It's it's not easy to have a really civilized discussion. So I do appreciate the civilized nature of the discussion right now. Let's go ahead. I guess I have to have had Nightbot on to see who the top chatter was. Otherwise, I was gonna have a little bit of a shout out for you. But yeah, like by the way, from now on, I actually am using Nightbot in my live stream. So if you guys are interested, contributing to the chat really does help. Even if you're not donating or anything, it really does help. So having a discussion is just good. Wow, there is something really in my throat. Maybe I have coronavirus. Big promise to you guys. If I get coronavirus, I'm going to report my symptoms to y'all, like front hand. We have succeeded in perfecting a fragrant fabric. The textile fibers are woven in perfumed fibers. Molecules of perfume are trapped in these fibers and are liberated from their capsules by a radio wave controlled by a manual remote. The user can thus change the odor of his clothing to the taste of his cravings. And we are not the first, but we can profit a lot from this technology. Let's go ahead and patent that. Let's go ahead and patent some true French technology. Probably, not sure, probably France. I think Germany has a very small number though. I thought it was Italy. A true European federation would be something worth pursuing militarily. Could you try doing a playlist playing as Russia, making it a democratic republic with a high growth rate? That's actually a really good one, because I have played as Russia before and it was not that successful. So that would actually be really interesting if I actually did that. You know, transitioning the Russian Federation into a democratic republic would be actually really interesting, and maintaining a really strong economy, as well as expanding the Russian economy, and you know, conforming to trying to change the energy grid to a more pro-green economy. So that would actually be really, really cool. Transportation, let's see what we're going on here. We got construction. Let's do an investment in 579 miles of roadway. Let's get that done in 13 months. Just to kind of get that started. You know, investing in highways actually does help the growth rate out a little bit. If you were trying to take over China, just nuke them or send ships to the South China Sea, which they will attack you, which means they can drag NATO into the war. Yeah. The only downside about that is the distance. You know, dragging Europe into a conflict in Asia wouldn't be economically feasible. So it's possible to create the Napoleonic. I cannot talk recently for whatever reason. Let's go ahead and actually improve relations with Georgia. Ooh, let's go ahead and invite the Georgian president over. Let's do that. Let's do that at the beginning of March. We got the United Kingdom, and we can actually help the Georgians out. So let's go ahead and give them more aid. Let's give them $750 million worth of aid. PG, who would win, China versus India in a war? I think the Chinese would actually prevail. The Chinese actually have way more advanced technology than the Indians. So in that sort of case, I do actually think that the Chinese would win. Just arrived, quick recapitulation, please. I haven't done a lot. Basically, in this live stream, I have been more in a discussion with the chat about the coronavirus and the lockdowns and all that. But basically, I passed the tax reform, and I have also been doing a couple other things more focused on the economy. We got a lot of military equipment. We have a huge military buildup that I am contributing to. There's no news on PNR, but about 4th generation warfare. 4th generation warfare has actually been has had 2 updates come out since it was released. So that's one piece of news about it. I just have not been playing it a lot, mostly because I have not been playing Eversim games recently. But if you guys do want to see more 4th generation warfare, I can do that for you. So if you guys are interested in 4th generation warfare, which I could actually again do in my own time, so I will do it, just let me know. He should try to develop stronger relations in Europe, or in Africa. Actually, he said in Africa. I got obsessed with the Yugoslav situation a few weeks ago. Yeah, the Yugoslav situation was actually really interesting. It's interesting about what happened in this area. By the way, Slovenia apparently says that they are free of the coronavirus. So if you have any thoughts on that, let me know. Intelligence on this. Ooh, we actually do have some intelligence. Maybe we can actually arrest his ass. Let's go to file. So we have signed up for a contact sport. We have bought a second phone. That's kind of sus. Saw a violent film in a cinema. And saw a violent film in a cinema. Let's go ahead and put these 2 under surveillance. And then let's go to the course free front. They actually do have a file as well. Let's go ahead and put them under surveillance. And then change that song. And then let's go ahead and increase the amount of national agents. because that actually helps put more people under investigation just in case we actually can't. We are actually suffering a little bit on approval rating. We need to get that up to at least 70 or 80%. The COVID numbers are probably way higher than thought. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Europe definitely needs more integration. You should try to develop stronger relations than Africa. Could you upgrade the communications with a wider spread use of 4G and telecommunications in the media tab? Yeah, sure. Hell yeah. It's actually, if you guys have any suggestions on what you want to see with France, please, I definitely am listening. 58% of the country is covered by mobile 4G internet, but then 85% is covered by broadband. Which the difference between broadband is going to be the 2 to 20 megabyte per second. Mostly developed in the beginning of the 2000s, now has aging technology forgotten in favor of super high speed internet. And then mobile 4G is basically where it increases the tens of megabytes per second, and then the infrastructures are costly because the amount of cellular towers required to build it. And then the advantages are numerous in multiple domains, in which is the security, health, education, commerce, and internet or entertainment are the principal uses. So let's actually increase that to 65. Let's actually do 70%. That's going to be $4 billion and then $18 billion over the next 5 years. And then let's see how much that changes. Not that much, actually. You ever heard about it's actually the 5G. It's not 4G, it's 5G. Freedom of expression is a thing in France, so that's good. We have a meeting with the president of Georgia. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and propose a military alliance. We're allowing, let's see if we can get some air, land, and sea rights. We had idiots attacking phone masts in the UK because of the conspiracy. Yeah, there was actually one that was attacked not that far away from me. All right, we have a strategic pact with the Republic of Georgia. That's really good. So let's see if we can actually try to get a little bit more permissions. That was accepted, so we have air rights over them. We have land rights. And then let's see if we can get some sea rights. Nope, that's going to be even harder. And if we can get some maritime rights, I really, really want to build a military base in Georgia. All right, I guess we're gonna go ahead and hold off on that. I think Switzerland is also close to defeat with the coronavirus, if they have around 1,000 active cases. People are so stupid to try and take down 5G. Yeah, you're not gonna stop the G's. Nothing wrong with some of the questions of 5G, but the COVID literally can't make sense. Yeah, I completely agree with that. But guys, if you are watching right now, please go ahead and consider joining in on the Discord. Nice to see you play PNR again. Yep, it is good to be back. Should I dissolve the assembly? And if not, should I change the constitutional power of it? Abolish the use of referendum, change the length of the assembly's term, change the system from majority to proportional. I usually do that as Germany. So those people sound like flat earthers. I want to know if anyone watching this right now, are you a flat earther? Do not be afraid to go out. I am not going to attack you. And I'm going to make sure that no one attacks you in the comments. But if you actually believe that the earth is flat, feel free to actually let me know your reasoning. I'd actually be really interested in actually knowing. 44,000. So our GDP per capita is going up. Kind of flattened out though. Oh, increased pensions. Yeah, we actually have the deficit a little bit further down to where we can actually increase pensions. Wow, we are paying out $1,000 a month in pensions. Let's do 1,050. It's going to be about $5 billion. Let's go ahead and do a television address. And that's going to put our deficit at 1.68. And that's going to pass. Awesome. And that got us a 10% increase in our approval. Thank you so much, Backstar. All right, awesome speech by the president of France. So when you increase the power of Congress or some government, then the people will be distracted when you basically become a dictator. Basically, yeah. Let's go ahead and see what the newspaper is saying. Troubles in Paris, the army to the rescue. The rebels sent in their armed troops, but we responded. There were people in the streets with guns, so we responded militarily. I hate the approval rating on this game. IRL would never fluctuate this much. Yeah, the approval rating on the political process is actually a little easier to manage because you kind of know. It really depends on where you're coming from, and it usually, you can have unpopular views, but then also, like, still get elected. I mean, you can still have like a 20, 30, 40% approval rating, and then you are still electable. PG, are you big government or small government? I am I am small government so long as we are not in emergency. So basically my reasoning is that good job, oldest person in the country. She really liked that I increased the pensions. So the reasoning is actually, so coronavirus, I believe, is a reason for big government. Big government is a very it's very, very minimal. And I believe that big government should only come into effect if the people actually need it. And I believe right now that it is justifiable that the government should expand its power in order to make sure that people are still able to pay their rent, still able to pay their mortgage, still able to pay their car, still able to work, still able to eat, still able to do anything. Because people are not going to be able to do anything right now. People are not, especially in the lockdown, like stimulus checks are justifiable. I disagree with the big government versus small government economy, but what is needed is total government. It needs to govern everything essentially, and I don't like that. I mean, in the United States, we have, in the United States, we have never had a centralized authority, and we will never have a centralized authority. So basically, after the United States was formed, we had something called the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation basically formed a country, but it was loosely, like, tied, because basically the states had their own militaries, they had their own militias that they could go off of, and they had their own debts. The states were their own country. It's just that they were all binded together into one central country. So there basically wasn't a federal government. That's why, and for example, this became prevalent that this was an issue because there was something called Shay's Rebellion, and Shay's Rebellion was basically this entire revolt in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that basically a lot of these disillusioned soldiers came back and they were like, I don't like that you're not paying me. The states couldn't pay them, and then so they were coming back and they said that the federal government should do something. So they expanded federal power in the current Constitution of the United States. So I do believe that there should be a federal government. I do believe that there should be some sort of central authority, but at least that there should be a little bit more power left to the states. And that's why I support the current Constitution that is active right now. Aside from the $1,200 stimulus, was there anything else the federal government has done to help? They actually did. There was this is really depending on where your viewpoint is, but I do believe that the federal government actually helping these companies that were actually suffering so greatly, such as the cruising companies, the airline companies. Bailing them out was actually justifiable. Bailing them out 10 years ago, that was not justifiable. That was not the right thing to do, because they knew what they were doing, and they knew the government was going to bail them out because they were not allowed to fail. So technically they were too big to fail. They were too big to fail, and they were not allowed to fail, so the government bailed them out. However, the difference right now is that these companies did not do anything to suffer financially what they are going through right now, such as, for example, J.C. Penney filed for bankruptcy, Chapter 11 bankruptcy yesterday. One of the largest clothing giants in the country filed for bankruptcy because of coronavirus. They deserve to be bailed out because they did not do anything to suffer from this. So that's why I do believe that some bailouts are justifiable. Yeah, social credit systems, by the way, those are horrible. What's so bad about neoliberalism is it still exerts authoritarian measures to protect itself when it needs to. Because the power isn't formalized, it's fundamentally dishonest. I prefer honesty. It's a really good point, though. Let's go ahead. Let's go to Secret Service. Go to external security. Belarus, Brazil, Kazakhstan, North Korea, Pakistan, Vietnam, Venezuela, Thailand, and Sudan. We're going to go ahead and pull our agents out of. India, China. Let's do that. Let's do some agents in Israel. Let's do some agents in Russia. And then do that confirm. I'm not going to do priority goal on that. India. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull them out of India, actually. Iran. Let's do industrial sabotage. Israel, let's do approach political groups. Russia, let's do industrial spying. Syria, let's do political spying. That's it. Unfortunately, JCPenney's leadership has been a little bad in the past 10 years, but I believe the jobs are essential to keep people from unemployment. Yeah, I believe that too. JCPenney was being handled horribly. They were being handled by people who did not know what they were doing, and so that led them into the ground. And then coronavirus was the final nail in the coffin. So sometimes, okay, so technically for JCPenney, I kind of retract what I said a minute ago. They don't deserve to be bailed out, but airline companies, yeah, they do deserve to be bailed out because they didn't do anything. And plus, they are absolutely essential employment-wise and transportation-wise, because if they are allowed to fail, who else are we going to depend on to actually get places? Because there's not going to be a company out there that is going to do it, unless you're going to be going on these like airline companies such as Spirit, any company after this that is actually going to be able to do it. There is going to be a massive influx of people that are going to be traveling once the coronavirus actually subsides. And it's not going to subside because there is going to be a second wave, which the second wave financially and morally, as well as life-wise, is going to be extremely worse. And I am absolutely prepared for that, and I am telling you guys to prepare for that too. Education, let's go over here. Establish freedom of the teachers, max school age, school vacations. Let's not touch that right now. Thank you so much for that, AMN. Thank you. I'm going to do one more dollar because apparently my chat revenue is only $99. So if anyone right now can donate at least $1, that would help. Because that's just kind of grabbing on my OCD right now. Like my chat revenue just says $99. Education on policy on gender equality. Let's go ahead and actually put more funding into that. And let's go over to taxes again. Let's see what we can touch over here. Tax on petroleum and energy products. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that at 52 cents. It's shameful. In the UK, we imported thousands of Romanians to do fruit picking jobs while natives are in lockdown. Hey, Backstar, thank you so much. You got the 99 cents right up in there. That's funny. And 88.5. It's funny. It's actually the fees and all that is actually not gonna be $100. I'm probably only gonna get like, I don't know, less than half of that, I guess, because apparently like whenever usually I get like donations and all that, YouTube usually like takes a bunch of these fees out, so like $24 ends up turning into like $14. So I don't know what $100 is gonna turn into afterward. This petroleum product bill is actually going to pass. Let's go ahead and submit that to the legislature. I actually don't know what the Parliament of France is called. If anyone can actually tell me what the French Parliament is called, that would actually be really interesting. Which actually, so they only have one chamber. So they only have the lower chamber, I believe. I don't know if they even have like a Senate esque type chamber. There is no evidence China is lying. There is absolutely evidence that China is lying. China is absolutely responsible for the disease right now. I am in firm and complete assertion that China is responsible and should be held accountable for the pandemic. I am not sitting here, and I do somewhat believe that, yeah, it was developed in a Chinese lab. China is not the type of country you want to believe right now. They are not trustworthy. China should forgive all American debt. Yeah, that would, I honestly do believe that would actually be a really, really good, at least maybe half to 75% of public debt held by China should be forgiven because of this coronavirus. French government is bicameral. It has a Senate and a National Assembly. So I guess the only one we're having to deal with is in the National Assembly. America is blaming China to distract from its own poor handling of the virus. No. Okay. So the thing is, just because we're blaming China for it does not mean that we're trying to say that the United States is having a poor handling of it. I do believe that the Americans could have handled it better. I do believe that Trump should have. I do have the absolute certain assertion that Trump should have acted sooner than he did. He did not act until the WHO declared it a pandemic, and that was his mistake. But at the same time, the Chinese are not coming up to their crimes and admitting that they are responsible for this. They covered it up. They killed the doctor that tried to say, hey, there's a SARS-like illness somewhere in Wuhan. We need to do something. And he got arrested for it. He got threatened for it. And then he got sick and he died because of it. Because of the inaction of the Chinese government, he died. And that is the fault of China. And to deny that is ignorant. I'm sorry, but it is ignorant. America has done great. What do you mean? No, that America has not done great. America could have handled this better. But my argument is that no administration could have handled this better. The Bush administration, the Clinton administration, the Obama administration, none of those administrations could have handled this better. Trump did not handle it that good. Trump is at fault because he did not want to act, because he thought it was just another flu. He did not want to. The reason Trump did not act actually is literally because he did not want to be like Obama. He did not want to act too soon rather than later, because Obama did somewhat overreact. But at the same time, Obama, we still have some sort of pandemic to go off of, because Obama was a pandemic time president. And Obama's handling of H1N1 was not that good. And to deny that is pretty ignorant. Trump didn't help matters by defunding the pandemic response unit. That is where you are wrong, Mr. K. Mr. K, so I actually did research on that. He did not disband anything. That is a total lie that is being fed to you by the media. So basically what Trump did, and I had a conversation about this with Backstar, basically what Trump did, he actually dismantled a certain part of the National Security Council. So he actually got the National Security Council, which has a branch in it, which is a part of a pandemic response team. So what he did, he actually ended up dismantling that part, but then actually still allocated those who were working for that pandemic response team into another branch, which was already about pandemic response. So he never got rid of something like that. Yes, he dismantled a piece that was about pandemic response, but the people who were a part of that did not get fired. They were reinstated back into some sort of pandemic response scenario thing. So to say, and plus the thing is that he is not. So the thing is that if he defunded or quote unquote dismantled the pandemic response team, that still wouldn't have mattered. No president at all, no president would have been able to handle this. Back in 2005, President George W. Bush literally came out and said that if we do not do anything to stop a pandemic from happening, we are going to suffer greatly. And look where we're at now. The Bush administration did not respond. The Obama administration did not do anything to prepare the United States for another pandemic, even though the Obama administration went through a pandemic. So in response to H1N1, knowing that pandemics were happening and could happen in the future, the Obama administration lacked a response to it and did not respond to it effectively. And so the Bush administration, the Obama administration, and even the Trump administration left us in danger of suffering a pandemic. And that's where we're at now. Because no administration would have been able to do it unless one of their campaign promises or one of their policies was specifically to prepare the United States for a pandemic. And no administration did it. And that's my point. All right, let's fight against sexual violence. Let's go ahead and fund that. Public safety, let's fund. No. All right. Let's the OECD, Bosnian and Herzegovinian application. Let's go ahead and accept that actually. Most of your problems will really start with Reagan. Well, I mean, if you're talking about a pandemic, why would Reagan be at fault? Every administration since then has been bad to awful. Well, to be honest, and I had a conversation about this a little bit ago, the Clinton administration was actually really good. I mean, the Clinton administration brought the first time in economic prosperity. I mean, he had a surplus. The Clinton administration got us a surplus. So economically, Clinton was actually really good. The only thing that everyone really gets mad at him about is that he got some head. So I don't get that. I mean, economically and some sort of policy-wise, the only thing that you can really say that, I mean, Clinton did bad was the three strikes policy, which was an extremely bad policy. Economically, though, he got us into extremely high growth, he got us a surplus, and he started paying off the debt. And then Bush came in, he started the wars, which one of them was justified, the other wasn't. And then Obama got the recession. He had to spend trillions of dollars just to get us out of a recession. And then we got Trump. He passed the tax law, which lowered our income and increased the deficit. You can say, and me personally, I am in favor of the 2017 tax cuts. But I also admit that it did make the economic situation in the United States worse. And then we have the coronavirus, which we have spent $5 trillion on the coronavirus in 2 months. $5 trillion in 2 months. That is more than Obama. And we are on track. The Trump administration, if he is elected again, is on track to spend more money than any president in United States history combined. This whole thing is just... Trump is right to pull us out of the Middle East. Yes, he is. I do believe that he is right. Are you subsidizing any countries, or did you cancel them? I am actually subsidizing Georgia. But actually, thank you for reminding me. Let's actually go to AIDS, and then let's go to development. Let's see our highest amount to a country other than Georgia. Democratic Republic of the Congo, let's cut funding to that. Vietnam, let's cut. I'm going to cut about $1 billion from here. 145, 240. Let's do 211 to Ethiopia. Nigeria, let's cut. India, let's cut. And Mali, let's cut. All right, we cut about $1.2 billion from that. I agree we shouldn't have troops in the Middle East. The debt doesn't matter, though. See, the reason I don't think the debt matters is because no country in the world, until another country is stable enough to actually have the currency that they have backed by another currency, then the United States is in trouble. But right now and in the future, at least in the next 20, 30, 40 years, I don't think that the United States is in trouble economically. I don't think that the United States is going to have a situation to where they cannot pay their debt. But at the same time, we do need to figure out a way to lower the interest rates on the debt, which at the same time, the United States Treasury is borrowing at record low interest rates, because the United States, the weird thing about the United States economic situation is that we are borrowing from ourselves. We're printing this money from ourselves at the lowest interest rates we have ever been able to borrow at. God, people are going to watch this live stream later and they're just going to be like, what are you talking about? But yeah, like, we are borrowing from ourselves. I mean, the reason the coronavirus stimulus bill right now is actually somewhat viable is because the Treasury came out and said that they are comfortable with borrowing $3 trillion worth of money because of the historically low interest rates that the Federal Reserve is giving out loans at. Which, the weird thing is that the Federal Reserve is giving out loans to the Treasury Department, which the Treasury Department is the one who's supposed to be printing the money that the Federal Reserve is supposed to be printing, and then the Federal Reserve is supposed to give that money back to the United States, which I don't know how that works. It's weird. So if you can't explain it, I can't explain it, then there's nothing to worry about. Yeah, Muse, I completely agree with you, actually. Fundamentally, as long as America is the biggest power, the debt doesn't matter. Yes, I completely agree, and that's my argument. Is that, yes, it is a problem that we are borrowing so much money and that our debt payments are going to suck up so much money of the budget. But at the same time, we are not in danger of defaulting on those loans. Hermione Wilson. Hermione Wilson, what? Praises Emmanuel Macron. I am excited to meet you, Mr. President. Such a commitment to equality between men and women is an example for all we leaders of our world. Once again, thank you. Wow, it's actually like something where the United States, where they actually praise someone. You know, playing as Donald Trump and then getting praise from that same person is actually kind of weird to me, honestly. Oh yeah, let's actually try that. Let's see if Hermione can actually be our mistress. Where's she at? She is going to be an artist, international actress, oldest person in the world, international actress dedicated to women's causes. Let's go ahead and invite her for a meeting. Let's try to see if we can get our little ding-a-ling gone on. Oh, the pension bill passed. Can we corrupt her? Nope, she is very moral. She is hetero. She likes women's rights. Offer her coffee, offer her a glass of champagne, tell her she is charming, she is an inspiration to the world. I guess we can't ask her to be our mistress this time. Honestly, I believe if Europe more united, we could in the future challenge America as a power. Which the thing is that, yeah, you can challenge us as a power, but at the same time, Europe is extremely dependent on the United States, militarily and economically. If Europe decides, hey, the United States is not going to be our biggest trading partner, who else do you have to fall back on? The Chinese are going to do it for you, but the Chinese are corrupt. They're covering everything up. They're responsible for a disease that is killing a bunch of people in Europe. Especially Italy. Italy wouldn't like that. So, unless you're going to be dependent on yourselves and turn into the United States of Europe, then Europe is going to be a puppet of the United States. The United States is the strongest country in the world, and Europe has had twice now in human history to where they destroyed themselves. And then they ended up becoming very dependent on the United States across the pond. So, yeah, you could challenge us as a power if you united as one country. But there are so many countries in the EU itself that really just do not want to do that. Which, speaking of the European Union, let's go ahead and question the actions of the organization, or let's go ahead and publicly support it. Let's go ahead and publicly support the European Union. The Central African Republic, we're going to go ahead and refuse that meeting. Waiting for your reply. Let's go to space research, and then let's end this live stream right here. European Space Agency, United States, Russia, or China. Let's partner with the ESA on this. So that actually didn't get us any technological research done. Let's actually partner. Let's do 35% of the EU budget is going toward agriculture. Could you build more solar and coastal wind farms? Yeah, I can do that in the next one. Summit meeting 38.1. Jesus Christ. Russia has started a competing program. We got a new partner on this. Let's go ahead and try to see if we can get the United States on this. The UK actually wants to contribute $227 million toward our effort. If Europe went against the United States, Russia would probably take over all of Europe. EU will dismantle in one day. It's based on the same principle as the USSR, and we'll look what happened there. I wouldn't say on the USSR, but I do believe that they are actually... a United States of Europe is not possible. As much as Germany wants it, that is the reason why Angela Merkel is stepping down, is because she knows that a united Europe is not possible in this lifetime. A united Europe is just not the type of thing. And that's what she's been striving for ever since Germany came together. And she thought that there was going to be a possibility for a united Europe, and it is not possible. And especially since it is not possible by 2020, which 2020 was a huge year for politicians. It was a huge year for the world. That 2020 was going to be the year that, funnily enough, India was going to become a superpower. Superpower by 2020, guys. But that wasn't happening. And since India Superpower 2020 did not happen, Europe Superpower 2020 is not happening either. And Europe is not going to become a superpower within the next 20 years. So the reason why she is stepping down is because that is not possible. Hey, from Australia, welcome Australia. When is the next episode of what? Are you talking about the United States? That will come out in the next couple of days. But guys, if you guys like this, I do apologize if you were watching this in the future. I do apologize for me just kind of, having a discussion about the coronavirus the entire time. That was more of the chat. But I did thoroughly enjoy the civilized conversation that I was able to have with everyone in here. If you want to continue this conversation, please join the Discord as it is being posted by Nightbot. So if you guys like this live stream, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Super chats are always appreciated, so super chatting me really does help out the channel. So again, if you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.